Okay, so I haven't seen the movie, but if we have word of a similar scenario, um, can we do it? What would it take? How much advance notice would you need?
I'll do my version of that. Then the real experts can fill in. So the secret to planetary defense is finding the asteroids before they find us. We've we're searching the skies constantly for asteroids and doing a pretty good job at locating new asteroids that are orbiting near our planet. They go around, as Brent mentioned earlier, they go around the sun just like we do. But there are certain asteroids called near-Earth objects that we want to pay closer attention to because their orbits may intersect our orbit one day. And of course, we can't protect ourselves against an asteroid that we don't know about. So finding them first is the name of the game.
The question of how much advance notice we need is as much as possible. The more advance notice we have, the better we can respond for a variety of reasons. But one of the things that we're actively researching now, in fact, is the question of just how quickly we could respond in the event that we had a shorter warning situation. And so the bottom line answer is that we don't quite know yet. We don't know how short a warning time we could credibly respond to. But I think it's safe to say that we would need at least several years warning at a minimum, given current capabilities, in order to have any chance of getting some spacecraft off the ground to try to deal with the asteroid. And the other thing to keep in mind is that it takes time to ascertain whether the asteroid is indeed on an Earth-impacting trajectory, because when we first discover and start tracking the asteroid, there are imperfections and uncertainties in our knowledge of its orbit, and it takes multiple observations over time to help reduce those uncertainties and allow us to have more confidence as to whether the asteroid is likely to hit us or not. And in that case, then we need to send a spacecraft up to go reconnoiter the asteroid. And then that helps clarify very quickly whether the asteroid is indeed on an Earth impact trajectory. And once we know that for certain, and we know something about the asteroid from that reconnaissance spacecraft, such as how big the asteroid is and these kinds of things, then we're positioned to get either the deflection or the disruption, depending on what's appropriate, type of spacecraft launched. And sometimes it can take a year or several years even to reach the asteroid. So you see, that all kind of adds up, and that's why we want to launch our INEO Surveyor infrared space telescope later this decade, perhaps in 2028, let's say, if all goes well. And INEO Surveyor is designed to discover these asteroids really far in advance. And so if we have, at least a decade's warning, maybe even a couple of decades worth of warning, then it becomes much easier to launch a response that will deal with the asteroid effect.
Things to what Brent has just said, that if we discovered an asteroid that is headed for a collision with a planet, the next immediate thing that we would need to do is to characterize the size of it, what is it made out of, and nail down its orbit so we can determine whether it is in fact going to collide with a planet and where, and what's going to be the size of the affected area. I think one of the takeaways from the DART mission was that the estimate of the deflection was different from what was actually accomplished, which tells us we need to have better characterization of these objects and quickly after they are discovered.